Good afternoon, all the participants. I welcome on behalf of Department of Economics, Pragati College of Arts and Commerce, Dombivli. I welcome today's guest speaker, Dr. Kashinath Chavan, sir. I welcome the HOD Economics, Department of Economics, Pragati College of Arts and Commerce, Dombivli, Dr. Avinash Shindre, sir. I welcome Professor Rupali Devulekar, madam, my colleague in Pragati College. I welcome you all the participants from various colleges and from our own college on the 6th day of 1 week online intercollegiate lecture series. Students, participants, it is very pleasure to announce you that it's a last day. We have completed 5 days and this is the 6th day which is going on. For a complete week, we are running this lecture series. And for this lecture series, we have today's guest, Dr. Kashinath Chavan, sir. Before inviting him to for the lecture, I would like to request Dr. Avinash Shindre, sir, to speak on this lecture.
Yes. First of all, officially, I welcome to Dr. Kashinath Chavan, sir, Head Department of Economics and Vice Principal of Arts, Commerce, Science College, Lanja. And the topic which is given to Dr. Chavan, sir, that is rural diversification, prospect and challenges. This student, we are trying our best to add new things in your knowledge. And all of us, we are staying in the urban areas, and that is why we are not very much familiar with the rural economy or the rural areas. And in this budget, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that nearly 50% of rural population that will be transferred from rural area to urban area. It is a good initiative, but the problem is that we are keeping our opinion are something different from Gandhian economy, because according to Mahatma Gandhi, he says that the real India stays in rural area. So as a professor of economist, I feel that instead of bringing that people into urban areas, why we should not concentrate on the rural development by introducing and implementing the various schemes for the rural areas, so that at the simultaneously urban and rural development will be taken place. So I hope Dr. Chavan, he is also from the rural areas. His college is also in rural areas. He is associated with the rural areas. And that is why he will focus more on the rural economy, rural development, rural prospect, and what are the challenges before the rural economy. So the entire aspect it will cover by Dr. Chavan. So I will give more time to speak him. So over to you, Dr. Gore.
Thank you, sir. So today we have the guest speaker, Dr. Kashinath Chavan, sir, and the topic which is given to sir is rural economy. I introduce him with his few glimpses about his work. Sir has completed his MA, MPhil, PhD, and PGDM or diploma, and sir is working presently as a head of the Department of Economics and vice principal, as well IQAC NAC coordinator in New Education Society's Arts, Commerce, Science College, Lanja, Dist-Ratnagiri. Under Sir's coordination, the college has got A grade in the second and third cycle of NAC accreditation. This is the great achievement under his coordination. In education, Sir has 24 years of experience. About Sir's publication, he is the author of 2 books, editor of 1 book, and various research papers are published in national, international journals, as well edited books and conference proceedings. Sir is honored with the Best Teacher Award by Lanja Taluka Patrakar Sangha and Sanskriti Foundation, Lanja. He is a member of governing body of an NGO, Society for Environment and Biodiversity, Ratnagiri. Sir is a member of College Development Committee, member of local committee on Mahila Ashram Lanja. So his work in education as well as for bounding with the social, we can understand with the few glimpses of his work. So today we have this great personality with us. So I welcome you, sir, on behalf of Department of Economics, Pragati College of Arts and Commerce, Dombivli. And may I request you to deliver the lecture on this occasion. Sir. Sir, mute आहात तुम्ही.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you, Chandra, sir. Thank you. I'm thankful to your honorable principal ma'am and all your colleagues, sir, from the Department of Economics, and the initiation you have taken to have such type of lectures, which is very important, I think, from the point of view of we all people as well as our the students community. And we may be continuing with all these 7 colleges as a collaboration. We will be very interested if we continue this initiation taken by the Sangre sir, and such type of lectures we will also organize. And this group of colleges, this cluster of these 7 colleges will continue as a collaboration, and which will be helpful for our students also. So once again, I'm thankful, and yes, I'm going to start with my presentation.
Chavan sir.
Yes, sir.
Your volume is too low.
Oh, sir.
Might be of computer or your speaker. Please see.
Yeah. So just see. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It works, sir, now?
You are audible now properly.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So this is the structure of my presentation. I think I should take up to 4:30 now, sir.
Hello. Sir, you just take up to 4:10, and later on there will be question answer session.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So we'll deal with the concept. I mean the concept of rural diversification, types of rural diversification, some important features of diversification, when we'll find some reasons how the why the diversification is needed, and some few examples in what way diversification is occurred, some strategies of rural diversification, some important benefits, and of course opportunities and challenges. So to start with the diversification, we know the agriculture has vast area of our development. so far as the economic development of our country is concerned, the agriculture plays a very vital role so far, with regards to income, employment, then its contribution to national income, and all other aspects like saving and thrift habits, and in case of capital investment for the purpose of the development. So diversification is very important so as to uplift the situation of the farmers, their income, their employment. So in that way, agricultural diversification refers either a change in cropping pattern, which is the heart of the income of the farmers, and it's a need that cropping pattern should be changed, and the income of the farmer community should be increased. And that way, change in the cropping pattern is important, or the farmers opting for other non-farming options like poultry farming, animal husbandry, etc. This practice allows farmers to expand the production, which helps generate a higher level of income. That is what I was telling you. The situation which is worsening uh, because of the fact that the agriculture is mostly depends on still on monsoon. It depends on the various mm, the income is lowering due to due to some hindrances are there. It is irrigational. It may be agricultural regarding agricultural marketing, maybe because of the finance. So that it is a need of the day to upgrade these aspects of the farmers so as to increase their income and the employment assess the employment situation also. So that this upliftment is regards to a critical situation which we observe in the rural economy. No uniform definition of rural. Size, features, urban structure, social features, economic features, public administration, etc. When we concentrate on the development of a particular sector, how to consider we have to consider the unique definition of a particular sector. If we are applying a particular policy to a sector, a uniform definition is there. So that is a complex situation when we observe in case of the agricultural sector, in case of size of the farming. That is, there are farmers having 2 or 3 hectares of land. Some farmers are more than 5 hectares of land. Some farmers are more than 15 hectares of land. That type of complexity is there. In case of urban structure, social features are there. And most important thing where I am concentrating today is economic features, and which is related to agricultural sector, because major of the farmers they are dealing with the production of agricultural produces. So in case of public administration also. Again, there is complexity of defining the rural and non-farm economy. So rural economy and non-farm economy. Because it's a semi type of complexity. We cannot derive a particular area of region where we can say that this is a semi-urban or it is totally rural sector while dealing with diversification. So this type of complexity is there by sector 1, 2, 3, by function, employment is there, locational factors are there. Then which is the role of migration also. People who are migrating from one place to another place, from rural to urban area, where income gets some sort of high income they are getting in the semi-urban area, but that too very difficult and complex to derive whether it is meant a diversification is actually takes place, whether the income takes place in a proper way or double or triple we are talking about, and what is the whether the diversification has helps a lot to the farmers. So diversification is important from the point of view of rural development, because when we diversify the armed sector, that will definitely, that means we are somewhat helping a particular agricultural sector for increasing their income, for increasing their employment, the standard of living, their livelihood. That is what actually we expect from the diversification. So it is essential because there is a greater risk in depending exclusively on farming for livelihood and and to provide a productive, sustainable livelihood options to rural people. The situation is such that they don't have a particular unified formal structure of market. There may be a formal structure of credit supply to the farmers. In the first lecture itself, we have observed the various problems of the credit structure of the farmers, how they are lacking the low rate of interest while they are investing for the rural economy. So that's what actually it is necessary that productive, sustainable livelihood option of the people should be provided through this type of diversification. So it's nothing but a creation of non-agricultural income to the income opportunities. It's nothing but expansion of their rural non-farm employment. It's nothing but expansion of income of rural youths. It's nothing but expansion of their standard of living. So that's what it's an integral to rural development strategies and for bringing meaningful structural change in the rural socio-economic situations. We come across two types of diversification actually. There is horizontal diversification and vertical diversification. Horizontal diversification is related to cropping or mixed crops instead of cultivating a single crop, which we observe for a long period of time. And nowadays, as a system based, it is not expanded at all to each and every farmer, each and every community, each and every village. That's not possible actually. So we are coming across such type of farming which is traditional one. It is very difficult to them also because of a small and fragmented kind of land holding. So this is what horizontal, we should concentrate on the cropping or mixed type of crops. Horizontal diversification is especially useful for small farmers who hold a small piece of land. This allows them to earn more or escalating cropping intensity. So just I told you, there are very few farmers who are small in small. They have having a small quantity of land holding, and they are developing to a greater extent. So it is necessary that we have to such a plan should be there for the integrated type of actions towards the small land holdings, and that comes in the form of cropping pattern, to change in the cropping pattern. We have to help them to change the cropping pattern so as to come up with a fair standard of living. And vertical diversification, it refers to the incorporation of industrialization along with the multiple cropping. In this kind of diversification, farmers take a further step and invest in activities like horticulture, agroforestry, livestock, rearing culture of aromatic plants, etc. And some certain combination of processing units which are located in the rural area itself or near to the rural location, so that vertical diversification in the form of processing of their foods will increase definitely the income of the farming community. So diversification is nothing but producing a variety of crops in the form of in the farm. That takes two types. That's horizontal diversification, which is related to cropping pattern, and one more is vertical diversification, where we observe some industrial units which are helping for increasing the income of the farmers by way of processing units. These two types of diversification helps the change in the cropping pattern, transformation of manpower from agricultural work to other associated activities. Just I have mentioned poultry, livestock, fisheries, etc. So for rural people, diversification or focusing on associate activities is important because it gives them an opportunity to earn extra income, which is very important. So how we come across the rural diversification? What way rural diversification is measured? That is actually related to these three important aspects. I am not dealing with the other social, administration, etc. We are concentrating here with economic diversification, and particularly which is related to agricultural diversification, which is related to again the agricultural farming community. The crop diversification is important. We measure in terms of the area, a particular area wherein the diversification has takes place, and it is observed in case of in the neighboring agricultural villages which are very close to cities, semi-urban areas. So in that terms, crop diversification is within the agricultural sector, and in terms of area, in terms of value of output, because value of output increases, that is due to the fact that whether it is due to the diversification that has takes place over a long period of time. Then farm sector diversification is there. Again, livelihood diversification includes employment diversification, whether employment of the rural community has increased, in what way it has increased, whether uh, whether it is beneficial for them for increasing their livelihood, whether it has increased the standard of living of the farming community, whether it has increased the income. So increasing the income through this diversification, that is income diversification. So I am coming here with some types of non-farm employment in rural areas. Diversification takes place in these forms. Animal husbandry, it means breeding, rearing, and caring of farm animals. We observe in case of rural areas, also called livestock farming, feeding of livestock, then meat, eggs, wool, other byproducts, source of income for farmers, provides livelihoods to over 70 million small and marginal farmers. Major source of women employment, and it provides increased stability in income, food security, transport, etc. This is what animal husbandry helps a lot, and these are these are existed since a long period of time. This type of diversification, and this is also closer to animal husbandry. That's dairying. Dairy farming is a very important aspect of rural development, and it is nothing but the business of producing, sharing, and distribution of milk and product. It includes breeding and raising of dairy animals like goat, buffalo, sheep, etc. for production of milk. The production and marketing of milk helps to rural farmers because it increases their level. Here I come across fisheries. It involves catching and selling of fish, prawns, other aquatic animals. Then it has emerged as an important source of livelihood in the states of Kerala, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Tamil Nadu. In the belt of this Konkan belt, we observe the fishing community in the coastal area. In the Ratnagiri district and Sindhudurg district, much more dependency of Koli communities depend on the fisheries, and it, in support of this agricultural sector, this is an important diversification that takes place in the coastal region. Around 60% of the workforce in exports and 40% of internal marketing are women. This is one of the important feature of the fishery support to the farmers, and it contributes 1.4% to the India's GDP. Horticulture is an important aspect where diversification has takes place. It involves cultivation of fruits, vegetables, flowers, etc. India is the world leader in producing a variety of fruits like mango, banana, etc. And particularly Maharashtra state is named for cultivation of fruits. It is a center of fruits. I think one of the major state which is producing such horticultural crop and export of fruits and vegetables. It generates employment for 19% of the India's total labor force. So from this, we can understand how diversification has helped and what type of the diversification is occurring in the rural economy. So some important futures we are coming across here. Are you getting my voice? Sir, आवाज येतो का?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's very clear. A little bit slower, but clear.
Okay. Major features of diversification. Multiple or mixed cropping system is very important, which is not observed to a large extent. Since I belong to a rural area, I'm observing a continuous type of crop, a traditional type of cropping pattern, and a traditional type of marketing is still observed. But for a long period of time, this was happening, and nowadays some experiments are going on, and those are in the forms of such type of changes, and those are very important. But it is necessary that it should be uh, the diversification of these changes should be widened a lot. There is shift from sole agricultural activities to other allied enterprises like fishery, forest products, poultry, and other non-agricultural sectors also. In the Western Maharashtra, we have so many such type of small units and cooperative sugar factories, poultry units, cooperative poultry units, milk unions, and in the states like Gujarat, we have a big example of Anand, that is Amul, that is Anand Milk Union Limited. So this this type of initiation taken by the cooperative sector helps farmers community a lot. So by every means, diversification in agricultural activities proves to be extremely beneficial for small farmers to increase their income. So why rural people diversify? What is the necessity? What are the factors responsible for this such type of changes? That's diversification. There are some push drivers and pull drivers. In case of pull drivers, just see, poverty is one of the important features. Constraints of agricultural environment, high pressure on land and natural resources, unstable economic market and institutional environment. High pressure of population is a common in case of agricultural sector. There are some activities which are very seasonal in nature. So youths of the rural, they will not get the employment throughout the year. So they want to migrate from a particular village to the big cities like Pune, Mumbai, or other cities. Again, they remigrate to their native places. So such type of situations and the negative perceptions of agricultural activities, because income is not sure, the climatic conditions are not sure, and these are the push drivers uh, which leads to migration, and sometimes it is forced. Access. This is what a positively we can take this positively, that new job opportunities are there, training of the rural youths is going on, new demand and supply factors is arising, and such type of improved connections and access is helping a lot, and increasing risk facing increasing needs related to education, health, living conditions. Agricultural potential and distance may interact in determining the locational advantage, occupational choices, and results to non-farm economic activities. It is a core aspect of rural diversification. When people are involving in the non-farm activities, automatically their income increases, and the diversification helps them a lot. These are the reasons for agricultural diversification. Diversification reasonably controls the damage that can occur from the unfavorable weather conditions, because climatic conditions, farmers are not sure about the climatic conditions. Sometimes there is a flood and the crop occurs due to the such type of due to flood situations, and sometimes there is a drought conditions. Such type of climatic changes affects the farmers' income. So this process safeguards the process of diversification safeguards them from the loss of crops under such circumstances. Then it facilitates several employment alternatives. Several employment alternatives come up from the diversification, and we have observed also in the form of marketing, commercialization of crops, then some new plantations of the crops. So cropping change in the cropping pattern. Almost half of the employment in India revolves around the agriculture sector. So that diversification creates a new job opportunities for the rural people than the traditional farming. So it increases their income. Diversification definitely helps increase in the income of the farmers. Then exportations, diversification helps for increase in the exports. And to come up with some examples of rural diversification, strong regional and quintile effects, uneven opportunities, importance of non-farm activities. They have come up with importance of the non-farm activity or on-farm activities. Then agricultural wage labor, a common off-farm activity, and mostly it is seasonal in nature, but they get low returns from this. Non-agricultural wage labor have some unique features. It is limited, sporadic, mainly informal and poorly paid. Administration or public administration or tourism, they are placed into the public administration and tourism with very low paid workers. So diversification has these features in the rural area, which needs to be changed. Then self-employment. The most common source of off-farm income is self-employment, and it has two important patterns. Coping strategies, very low returns here also. Odd jobs are there. Full-time activities, better assets investment. Then transfers, mostly remittances, and variable. Importance of historical patterns of migration, form of migration, nature, length, and destinations. So when we say that this rural diversification should bring the self-employment, the point to tell here is, in case of self-employment should lead to increase in the income of the farmers, increase in the standard of living of the farmers. But that is a very slow process what we observe in case of rural economy. In case of transfers also, these are mostly in terms of remittances, and they are variable also. Then historical patterns of migration. With low income, they are transferring from one sector, one area, one region to another region, rural to urban. So that is not also helping a lot to the farmers. And the form of migration depends upon the nature of migration. What is the nature of migration? What is the length? What is the destination? These all factors are very important. So as to consider diversification is helping a lot, or whether there is a diversification in a positive way. So this is income relation. This is relationship between diversification and income. Household income and household diversification. Along the y-axis, we have shown household diversification, and along the x-axis, this is the household income. It takes in the inverted U pattern. No diversification centered subsistence farming. Then we adopt the diversification strategies, and increasing returns and risk reductions takes place. Then households begin to specialize, and when they are succeeded in specializing the things, full specialization in agriculture or other activities takes place. It may be farm activities or non-farm activities. In this way, household income will increase with the situation of the migration, situation of diversification or changes in the rural economy. So some important strategies definitely are there for rural development. The diversification. So these strategies includes, still there is a problem of poverty and vast poverty in a rural area. So poverty alleviation is one of the important. There will be a strategy for uplifting the farmers for higher level of income, better livelihood opportunities, provision of basic amenities and infrastructure facilities for these changes through innovative programs should be there. Wage and self-employment facilities should be there. And one of the important factor is integrated rural development is inevitable. At the same time, a goal and a methodological approach should be there. Goal is to include the neglected masses of rural poor in the process of increasing the well-being of the mankind. The approach for reaching this goal is the application of a bundle of well-planned measures of economic and political nature. Some important aspects which are related to the migrations are natural resources, agricultural and non-agricultural. This utilization of natural resources is one of the important form of diversification. Change in the approach of the human resources, pattern of social organization, economic structure. The traditional structure is changing nowadays, and it is a type of structure which is considering a farming community to engage in the non-farm activity. The technology in agriculture, in the non-agricultural sector, is very important. Infrastructure is should be fully expanded. Institutions and organizations, they are supporting for the rural community is important, and some important services and education and training. These are the important factors. So come to the benefits of the diversification. When these changes takes place in the rural community, that will lead to a very important thing, which is a need of the day for the rural sector, that is to reduce the risk from the agricultural sector. So many risks are there, and that should be reduced to a lower maximum extent. Then providing additional employment opportunities. This is also an important benefit. Higher level of income, it will lead to higher level of income of the rural sector, rural community, and helping in overcoming the extreme poverty. It helps in reducing the risk factors. This is what the explanation of the earlier. Because of the time constraint, I am not going through the detail. Multiple crops can be harvested. The agriculture is already crowded. That crowd should be reduced. Crop diversification is important, and to boost the rural employment impacts the overall economy of the nation, as agriculture in India falls in the primary sector of the country. Rural peoples who still largely depend on agriculture in most of the developing world increasingly drive incomes from the non-farm activities. There is intensification of rural diversification, and which is very important for the farmers to have a large body of literature. Has also, it is also related to the investigated to the extent, nature and drivers of the rural diversity. What type of diversification is important, and there are some certain studies also in what way we have to go for the rural diversification. That is in the form of rural employment concentration on the rural employment is very important. This is the major problem. Because of this fact, so many packages, uh, so many committees have been formed, so many programs have been initiated by the government of India for increasing the rural employment, for helping the for helping to diversify the rural sector, and a positive way of thinking for the irrigational facilities, providing the irrigational facilities. So from providing seeds to irrigational facilities to the marketing facilities, a chain of the things requires, which will help to the farmers, and this includes infrastructural facilities and other related facilities, which will increase the rural income. There should be optimum use of resources, which is not observed. Optimum use of resources requires a systematic crop planning, crop management, scientific crop management, and for that purpose, a lot of things to be needed. And there are a lot of opportunities also. So many farm techniques have been developed in these days. Farm techniques in the sense we can apply the technology to a small land holdings also, earlier which was not possible. So there are definitely an opportunities which are there for increasing the productivity of the agriculture also. Cropping pattern will definitely increase with the help of new technology, with the help of new management system, with the help of new cropping pattern system, which is initiated by the government in a many ways. Increase non-farm activity. This should be done by way of changing the outlook of the farmers. In what way they should transfer from agriculture to other sector, what type of non-farm activities they have to take, how that will be benefited, in what will be the structure, what will be the planning, and what will be the ways of implementing. These strategies are have been adopted by many of them, but still it is necessary that should be a structured and in a formal way. Then to reduce the poverty, this is one of the important challenge also. Then infrastructural development, there are opportunities as well as challenges also with related to providing the infrastructure facilities, still from road to all other facilities which are related to marketing, credit, and the education, social educational development, etc. Improving the knowledge base. That is what actually education is needed. Strong base of education should be there. Agricultural related research and development, which will helping the farming community for their day-to-day activities like interculture, flowering, development of certain new crops, cultivation of certain new crops, etc. Then re-engaging with development strategies. Adopting an integrated framework to support agriculture and rural diversification, and that should be from this support should be from local and territorial, and it should be done in a dynamic way. To sum up these things, I have come across some important points still to go. This is one of the important structural change and rural diversification in developing countries, because this is an important aspect of rural diversification. I will take still 10 minutes are there, so that I'm going through this concept, which is very close to rural diversification. That is what we expect the structural change. In the developing countries, what type of suggestions and literature we observe that we are looking? It's a process of change in the macroeconomic structure based in a shift from agriculture to industry and services. So shifting from agriculture to industry and related services is an important aspect of rural diversification. So underlying dynamic situations are how to increase the productivity in agriculture, what type of innovations we require. So this structural change will definitely bring out the rural diversification. The release of labor and capital to other economic activities. It is a big, tough job to have to pull them from the agricultural sector and and to supply these labors or uh, creating an opportunities in the urban areas or other non-farm sector. Uh, it takes a long period also. It is a slow process. I mean, a broad geographic restructuring is required. Flow of labor from scattered to more concentrated activities, which are observed in case of urban area, and results will be higher income, greater wealth, and improving living conditions, along with the medical progress, demographic transition. The structural change in the form of demographic transition is required. Growing agricultural incomes that will lead to rural demand and opportunities for rural activities for the diversification. So, historical pathway of structural change has been takes place in many areas, particularly in the developing countries. Uh, historical pathway at different places is initiated in Europe first, with the Industrial Revolution. This was followed by uh, European offshoots plus Japan until World War II. Then it was spread in the Latin America, South Korea, Eastern Europe, and the situation is more diverse in Asia and Africa. So here years are given: Brazil 1965, Morocco 1980, like that, Korea 1965, Indonesia 1965. For developing countries, the diversification takes long period. Late developers, which includes most of South uh, Saharan African countries, simultaneously confronted with incipient economic transition, unachieved demographic transition, growing urbanization without industrialization, and these are also concerned with our country. The moment in time matters in the context of global open economy, high international competition. Then existing opportunities will definitely, that is the benefits of technological progress and past experience, advantage of new opportunities to access global markets. Critical constraints are instability of the international environment, then various pressures are there in our natural environment, degradation, etc. With the industrialization, we have certain things which come up with the development also. And today's rural population growth is shown here. Population in many of the developing countries is not in a way of, it's not a controlled way. That is what one of the important hurdle is there. Rapid urbanization is mega cities are there, but population remains rural and is still growing. That is what the problem is there. This red part of the shows, and in case of India also, we are observing that we are not still controlling the population, particularly in the rural areas. That is what the important hurdle for such type of change or structural change and diversification, what we need for diversification and for increasing the income of the farmers. This migration massive, but it is limited compared to past transitions, not a viable options. It is not a viable options. So in case of to be go fast, in case of growth and employment also, we come across labor force is increases critical in most of the region of the developing countries. Labor demand in South Saharan Africa will represent 70-90 million. This is the data given. We are not concerned with, only we can understand the situation where wherein we want to change. We want to brought changes in the agricultural sector. but certain situations are a hindrance for such things regarding the growth of the employment in the agricultural today. Agriculture is still the main activity in rural areas and in most of the developing world. But agriculture is one among the activities of the rural peoples. Diversification needed for in a positive diversification which needed in a positive way to change this situation, to uplift the labor force from the rural area to the non-farming sector. That is what actually expected. So we should concentrate for the diversification to change in the structural format of the agricultural sector and to diversify the existing situation and to develop a non-farm activities. That is what these three important aspects of rural diversification is observed. 3 out of every 4 poor people in developing countries live in rural areas. That requires the changes. Second one is agriculture and other activities developed by rural peoples, that is locally or in migration, provide and will continue to provide employment, income, and food to the many in most of the developing world. And third one is development strategies cannot ignore rural transformation. And in the interlink between rural and urban areas, must address these new challenges supporting the existing dynamics. In that way, we require the diversification in the rural area. And this diversification is very important from human resource to the the structure and the formal sector. Mindset of the farmers, they have to be trained, they have to be educated, they should be a manager of the particular farm, they should be an entrepreneur, they should be an agripreneur, and such type of changes when we brought together with the help of the government, with the help of the farming community, with the help of the other businessmen, this integrated approach will definitely bring out the diversification in the rural economy, and that will help to uplift the farmers to raise their income, to raise their employment opportunities, and to raise the standard of living of the um, rural community. I think with this, I will remain here. Once again, I'm thankful to you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. It's almost 4 o'clock, I think. Hello, sir. Hello.
Ha, sir.
Hello.
Sir, ha, येतोय आवाज. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So I request all the participants, the session is open now for the question answers and the discussion. Please, if you have any doubt, any query, then you can ask. Participants, you are requested to ask the questions, if any. I think there is no question regarding this. It's very clear to all. Chandra sir. Sir, only 2 minutes. Sir, with
Hello, sir.
just a
Hi,
minute.
sir.
Chandra sir, it's the lecture is delivered, and so once again I will
Yes, sir.
instruct to the students.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Shall I, sir?
one thing is there. One question has arrived,
Okay.
so that I will answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is rural diversification polluting the
Yeah,
nature?
yeah. Regarding
Yes, yes.
regarding the benefits of the rural diversification, one student has asked how it is beneficial for the society.
Yes, two
So
questions.
yeah, yeah. So what happens? I'm not going with all the details of this particular questions. There is one slide of how what are the benefits of the society. So far as the society is concerned, when a drastic change in the agricultural sector will take place, that will help a lot to increase the income of the farming community. There will be increase in the employment opportunities. Standard of living of the rural community will increase definitely. And when a sort of development takes place, that will help for the total society by way of some new products, agro-related products. There will be there will be variety of crops which will be grown within our country that will benefit to all of us. It will come to us with low price, with higher quality. That type of diversification we are actually expected, and that will be definitely benefited for all of us for increasing our standard of living, income, employment. When rural community go on developing, that will help a lot for the uh, the country like India, which is mostly relied on the agriculture sector. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else want to ask anything?
One more question is there. Is rural diversification is polluting the nature? Are you getting, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. This is very important question, which is actually related to the development. Always this comes for when we teach the growth and development of our country, development theories. When development takes place, a kind of development, diversification is a kind of development of the rural economy. Diversification may be not only in the rural economy, Diversification is related to so many things, maybe social, employment, and it may be related to the urban diversification, and whether it is polluting in nature. It's not polluting in nature. How we deal with a particular kind of development, a particular kind of change, in what way we are applying it. So that matters, and it depends on in what way we are cultivating the crops, in what way we are growing the particular plants. I mean, how we are using the seeds, whether it is herbal or not, that's the question. And no doubt, if a particular plantation is there, and if it is not in a proper way, if a development strategy is going only on the development for achieving the targets only, and if we are neglecting the other impacts also, so that will lead to definitely for the pollution. But all when we take all the care, while approaching for a particular, while reaching the target of a particular, maybe the diversification in the agriculture and other sectors, there will not be the question of pollution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your deep and insightful lecture on rural diversification. You have cleared all the doubts of the students also. So thank you very much, sir. And just if any question anyone wants to ask anything, then again they are free to ask. Sir will attend all the questions.
Yes, sir. Yeah, of course. अजून आले. Question आले.
Okay, sir. I think there is no more question. So, for the participants, two instructions, as I told you. First, you have to fill the daily attendance, and the link in 2 minutes I will provide you that link. But don't leave before filling the second link, because the second link will be very important, and that will give you the e-certificate. So just by filling one, don't leave the group, don't leave the meeting. So as a formality, and I request Professor Rupali Devulekar madam to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Gore sir. A very good afternoon.
Just a minute. We are now at the end of our 1 week lecture series of the expert. We have tried our level best to invite the resource person from the various field, and just it is a formality of validity function of 1 week lecture series. Dear student, we have tried our level best to add something in your knowledge, and many of the students, they were very much punctuate regarding their attendance, and sincerely you have listened the entire lecture series. Today is the last lecture of Dr. Chavan sir. Earlier there was Gadre sir, Marina madam, Dr. Shahpuri sir, and so many experts we have invited, and they have tried to gain you something. So in future also, we will try our level best to organize different programs on the behalf of our Department of Economics. So if you are there in the group of 1 week lecture series, you don't leave the group, because as and when we are getting something new for you, that we will post in that group, not only related to the academic program, but also there might be vocational or professional development activities that will be posted in the group. So as a head Department of Economics of Pragati College, I thanks to this all resource person, and especially to all the participants who are attending this lecture regularly. So wish you all the best for your future, and thank you everyone. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, sir. A very good afternoon to all of you. Today we are at the end of 1 week intercollegiate lecture series. On this occasion, we have our head Department of Economics, Dr. Avinash Shendre sir. Also the resource person of today's lecture series, Dr. Kashinath Chavan sir, HOD Economics and Vice Principal, New Education Societies, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Lanja, Dist-Ratnagiri. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Kashinath Chavan sir for accepting our invitation of this lecture series and his valuable time sparing with our students. Sir, we are very much sure because of your lecture, the entire student will be benefited immensely. I hope to have many more such enlightening interaction with you in the future also. I thanks to the principal of the college, Dr. Jyoti Pohane madam, for her support for this 1 week lecture series. I also thanks to our head of the department, Dr. Shendre sir, for his innovative idea with respect to this lecture series. I thanks to my departmental colleague, Dr. Gore sir, for his efforts in making this lecture series a very grand success. Not least, but I am very much thankful to all my dear student participants from the various colleges affiliated to University of Mumbai for their participation in a large number. Also thankful to there because you are attending this lecture series since last 6 days. You are attending this lecture on time. Your punctuality was so excellent. So once again, I am thankful to you from my bottom of heart. I also thank to the teaching and non-teaching staff of the college for their directly and indirectly support in making this lecture series a very grand success. Thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Gore sir.
Ma'am,
Chavan sir,
hello, sir.
very
Hello, sir.
nice.
Thank
I'm
you.
very happy to see that your presentation, it was so excellent. You have covered all the aspects related to rural diversification, and it was our one efforts. In future also we require your cooperation.
Thank you very much, sir. And I congratulate all your faculty and yourself for taking so much pain and a wonderful series you have organized. And that will be helpful for us also to have such a series and invite you. Once again, I
Sure.
congratulate all the faculty members from Department of Economics because such type of response, it is a credit of you all. Students have joined, so many students have joined, and I was very happy to talk with them. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. So the first link is given, daily attendance link is given. Students, please fill the first link, attendance link. And then secondly, I will provide you the certificate link. Okay, I will resend it, but it's once again, it's only the attendance link. So wait for the certificate link. Those who have not filled the attendance, they please fill it first, and then I will provide you the certificate link.